This is the Libtech Orca on the table, and gotta say I love it so much more after getting an extended demo with the production model that I did the day we tried the demo model at the Frantic Manic Demo Dash. This is, now I can see why it had such mass appeal with a lot of people I talked to that rode it. They really liked it, and I think it really appeals to that kind of athletic rider that likes to bomb, straight line, and carve, likes a T-Rise board already, but wants it in a short fatty. And here's a look at it on the table. First off, you can see there's a super long nose, and it's very directional, very short, kinked tail, and I'll show you that right now. You can kind of see. So it is kind of doable switch, except it's a little lopsided. And then you have 10 mil of taper, which, you know, isn't too much for this kind of like shorter, fatter, surfier kind of ride. And I would say if we're talking surf, we're talking like quad fin. It's not really like the kind of, like maybe modern quad, you know, it likes to just drive. It's not a vertical pocket surfer. It's drop down the line, gun it, change directions really hard. And it likes a little bit wider foot, a little bit more powerful rider. And it's one of the most powerful hybrid rocker boards I've tried. You can see there's a good bit of full mag down the middle here. And let me put this up close to you. So maybe you can see just, you know, how it's super mellow here, but in the middle where it's, you know, where there's the most rocker, it really grips. And you can see it's got a very mellow, you know, rocker in the middle to camber or hybrid rocker camber profile. There isn't much rise up, and in the front, there isn't that much camber, and it seems like there's a little shorter, more condensed. It almost seems like C1.75X, like, you know how they used to have C1 or C1? They would do, C1 used to be camber in the back, like C2 in the back, and then just rocker in the front. This kind of seems like that. You know, every board cures differently, so they say C2X, but it seems like there was a slight tweak on it. This has that longer elliptical camber, and this kind of has just a short, fat camber right over the inserts, which I just love. It just feels like it's got more carving power and spring out of the turn than you would think. And it's not quite the, you know, it's not quite the board for everybody, but I think a lot of people could really like it, who are, you know, more athletic, want more of a straight liney, but want a little bit of that loose feel. So it's not as catchy as some, you know, camber boards. It's definitely has more consequence than most hybrid rockers, than almost every hybrid rocker I've ever tried. However, compared to camber, like C3 and others, it's probably a little less, because you still got that little kind of auto spinny feel in harder conditions. And but the minute it starts to get even, you know, a little bit softer, it seems to stabilize out. And then on top of this mellow rocker right here, I mean, mellow camber coming back down, it seems like there's a little bit of early rise, like before the nose. So it's got a lot of, you know, float going on. Let's take a look at the setback on board. If you want to set it back with traditional discs, you're looking at just about 21 3/4. If you want to go out super wide, you're looking at 24, and come all the way in, you're looking at 19.5. Now, let's do some math here, and we'll try to figure out, you know, how this sets back. So right here is just about 23. And right here is 14 3/4. So let's talk about difference between nose and tail. You're looking at 8.25 inches difference, and that's pretty wide. And then if you divide it by 2, you can see how this has 4.125 of a setback, of a true setback on board. And I think, you know, with 2.5 inches on side cut, and then, you know, another little extra bit, 4.125, you get a little more setback on board than you do side cut. And you can see it's just really got a lot of directional float, and it's really going to float well. One thing also to mention, this is just a little deeper blue in person than what I'm picking up on my camera. My camera makes it look a little lighter blue than it is. It's actually a little darker blue. And this base is great. It's all black. It's got this white part here. That's going to be hard to repair, but if you hit anywhere else, it's going to be very easy to P-Tex and repair without it looking ugly. And man, this Orca is just beautiful. I just love this blue, this kind of vibrant, lightish, medium blue. Love Orcas, they're so cool. And love what they did, you know, despite the fact that it's, you know, another die cut in there, and it's going to be hard to repair. It still looks amazingly cool. So there's the Orca for 2019, and I just think overall, I think it could make a certain type of rider super happy. But, you know, for me, this really wasn't my type of board. Not a board I'd really like to personally own, but I get it. I see why other people would, especially if you like that more straight-liney, more aggressive approach. And I will say, though, that this is probably the best Travis Rice board I've ever ridden. Most of his boards are kind of very aggressive, hybrid rocker, mid-wide twins that just don't work with my boot size very well, and have a very straight-liney, kind of non-turny, kind of Superman, Travis Rice kind of feel to them, despite the fact that they're hybrid rocker. They're forgiving, but they're, you know, they're a bit much. They're a bit more than almost every other hybrid rocker I've ever tried. And this is kind of like that, but I had a lot more fun on this than almost any other Travis Rice board. So I'd say, yeah, go for it. And if you're a much smaller, if you're like a 9 and, you know, maybe a little smaller in weight, maybe the, I think it's the 147, this is the 53, maybe the 147 might be more fun. But as it stands now, this is a great board, and it's very recommendable.